So welcome students. Let us look at the topic of quadratic equations. This is a very important topic for your JEE Mains as well as JEE Advanced. So let us start this topic from the very basics. Now, what is a quadratic equation? An equation of the form ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0 is called a quadratic equation, where a comma b comma c belong to some number system. So if a comma b comma c belong to real numbers, if a comma b comma c belongs to real numbers, this quadratic equation is called a real quadratic equation. So unless otherwise specified, we deal with real quadratic equations in this chapter. Sometimes the coefficients of x square, x, and the constant term can also be complex. There is no problem with it. If the coefficients, some of the coefficients are complex, then the quadratic equation is called complex quadratic equation. So if all the coefficients a, b, c are real, we say that the quadratic equation is a real quadratic equation. If one or more of these coefficients are non-real complex, then we say that the quadratic equation is a complex quadratic equation. And unless otherwise mentioned, we deal with real quadratic equations in this chapter. Now, whenever we talk about an equation, we talk about solutions of an equation. So an equation is meant to be solved. Now if you have the equation ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So if you have a number alpha, which satisfies this equation, that is a alpha square plus b alpha plus c, if it is equal to 0, then we say that alpha is a root of the quadratic equation. For example, we can take a sample quadratic equation as x square minus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. Now, what are the roots of this quadratic equation? So, one of the way to find the roots is by trial and error. So, to find the roots of this equation, just need to find a number which, when substituted in the place of x, satisfies this equation. So, let us take x is equal to 1. So, 1 square is 1, minus 5 into 1 is 5, plus 6. So, 1 minus 5 plus 6 is 7 minus 5 is equal to 2. So this is not equal to 0. That means 1 is not a root of this equation. So let us put x is equal to 2. So 2 square is 4, minus 5 into 2 is 10, plus 6. So 4 plus 6 is 10 minus 10 is equal to 0. That means x is equal to 2 is satisfying this equation. Hence 2 is a root of this quadratic equation. So are there any other roots? So let us take x is equal to 3. If x is equal to 3, you have 9 minus 5 3s are 15 plus 6. So 9 plus 6 is 15 minus 15 is again equal to 0. Hence 3 is also satisfying this equation. Hence 3 is also a root of this quadratic equation. In this way, if the coefficients are workable, we can get the solutions by trial and error. But this is not a very good way. Now if I ask you, are there any more solutions to this quadratic equation? So by trial and error, we cannot check every possible value of x in this equation and try to prove or disprove this equation. We cannot do that. So we need certain methods to find the solutions of this quadratic equation. Now, so what are the other methods that we have to find the solutions of this quadratic equation?